right now in real time, just so I could give you guys an update. We are on day 6 in Baja, and it's as good as everybody says it is. We are severely loving it, but that is for another day. I will say it is Christmas Eve, right?
It's the 22nd.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Feliz Navidad from our family to yours. I guess we'll do our best to try and get this out
Turn it around.
before Christmas so that you get to hear that Feliz Navidad from our family. But why don't you kick us off? We're just about to get to
Leaving
LA.
Ventura is fantastic. So we were able to get our reset, and then here we are heading from being in remote areas for 2 weeks at this point, heading into the heart of LA, where Patrick's cousin lives, just literally really close to where all of these like big production companies. We're talking like Warner Bros. And
Yeah.
Universal, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Either way, it lives like right there. So talk
My
about
cousin,
like,
just quickly.
Okay.
He happens to be a Grammy-winning composer.
Yeah.
His leg of the family got all of the talent. They are wonderful folks. We really appreciate them housing us. And I know, shameless plug, he's selling a course right now.
Yeah.
So if you want to figure out how to be a composer for either Hollywood or streaming services or anything like that,
There's not really anything else out there to help people that are seeking out that career path. And so he is the one who is, I think him and a few others
partner,
collectively have come together to be able to help people through this course.
yeah, it's pretty cool because they've learned all of these lessons the hard way with 20, 30 years in the business. So if you're somebody who's trying to become a composer and super passionate about music and film, that's a great option. So I'll put a link in the description, but continue.
So yeah, LA is wild.
It's such a
chaos.
stark contrast compared to what we had been doing prior to LA. We had been remote and kind of like quiet beach living, and even the KOA was like super quiet in comparison. It was off season. Nobody was in Ventura at the time. So going to LA was like blatant culture shock. We weren't really ready.
Fun fact, Patrick and I met when we were living downtown. So it's not like we are anti-metropolitan areas.
Definitely not.
That's where our relationship started, like literally in the heart of downtown, living on Capitol Hill. So like we do like going to the city. There is like an energy about it that's really fun. It's just we can only take it in doses at this point, and then we have to like escape to the mountains again.
Normally I feel like the food's really good, and unfortunately I feel like the food was not that great that we got in LA.
I'm getting the impression that you and I are becoming more picky about our food as time goes by, and I think that's because we travel or there are people who are cooking these amazing dishes for us. And so the bar just keeps rising. And unfortunately, like the talent at these like normal even mom and pop shops and stuff, but I mean just the food that's available, it's just not quite up to par with what we're wanting.
Yeah. But cool enough, there was a little Christmas festival.
There was.
While we were there, so we were able to go and
there were like bagpipes.
It's the first time I've ever heard Christmas carols on bagpipes, and let me tell you, it made me like Christmas carols. And I don't much. It's not that I dislike Christmas carols. I've made this clear many years ago. I don't dislike Christmas carols. I just wish that we weren't playing the same 7 songs over and over for like the last 30 years. I wish that I like the classics. They're cool. You only need to listen to them maybe 5 or 6 times a year, and then you're maxed out.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish there was like new Christmas carols.
I think that's why I like instrumental. Like I really like Lindsey Sterling, that kind of stuff. Where it's not the words.
She should introduce some bagpipes.
She should.
Because the bagpipes, this slap. Those were great.
Those are great. Anyway, so we get to spend a few days with Patrick's cousin, or at Patrick's cousin's house. Unfortunately, it is holiday time, so they are jam-packed. with different like Christmas things, but they were just so kind in letting us stay at their house for a few days because we had plans and meetings of our own that were taking place in LA, and we were really struggling to figure out how on earth were we going to camp and then make our way back into the city every single day to try and take care of these meetings and events. So
Unless you're
it's
like
simplified.
another style of full timer, which would be like the impoverished homeless, it's pretty hard to like camp anywhere in LA
In the
County.
city, yeah.
There's just
No.
it just not opportunities available. So
No.
yes, it was very wonderful to be able to stay with family.
Well, and on that note, I will say that like even in the like kind of surrounding areas of LA, because we had to try and find camping that was like on the outskirts when we were coming in, when we were going out, and there are a lot of places that will not let trucks with rooftop tents camp there.
Yeah.
They are strictly RV. Some of them are RV and tent camp, but there is no place for a truck with a rooftop tent. They just don't know what to do with it, so they just don't allow it.
Yeah. Well,
So
and
that's a challenge to consider if you're in that area.
on that same note, we also learned shortly after, you'll figure out about this, but it's on the same vein of a lot of vans that are not RV certified are being turned away from campgrounds and RV parks now because the liability involved in like if it's a self-made van or even a builder who doesn't have an RV certification, they're being turned away. So there's definitely
it's really
some
like electrical stuff that they're concerned about
for
because
sure
there are
fires.
fires that are starting, and then all of a sudden stuff's not being covered by insurance at these campgrounds. So that's where they're having to turn these away.
Yeah.
I think that our friends over at OTSI, I believe that they have information on their website
They
that
do.
better covers
They
all
have
of
like
that.
a blog, and
Yeah.
then if you
They're
even if
fantastic
you're just
van builders anyway, so if you guys are looking into that, but they at least have all of that information out there.
even if you're going to build your own, you should talk to a reputable van builder and at the very least buy components from them and take their advice.
Yeah.
Because you know that at least they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway.
But continuing,
I love you.
we had the opportunity. I saw
Patrick
like
is,
a week prior to being in LA.
Yeah.
I saw an ad, or I don't even know if it was an ad on Instagram. I think it was just a post.
Oh yeah, no, it's a post because I follow Pollock
Evan,
Productions. Evan
yep,
Pollock.
Evan Pollock.
He's an incredible
filmmaker. Has worked on some cool ad spots
They're
and some
into
cool.
super cool cars and
Yeah.
just like a totally different style of like creative process and
Totally.
like editing and stuff. Like it just I love the kind of stuff that they put together.
Yeah.
He puts together, and then he has kind of like a team of people.
Yeah. So he and Andrew, Nick, that's what I said. Nick, with 944 Rally.
944 Rally, yeah.
I just know him by his handle. That's the unfortunate part. I
I
know him by
know.
944
I'm
Rally.
terrible with
But either
that.
way, they did a short film project together that was really cool. And it was so cool that it deserved a premiere.
Yeah.
And they did an event in LA. It was actually at the Sigma like headquarters in LA, which is just outside of Burbank or just in Burbank or something.
It's Burbankish.
Okay, Burbankish. And they premiered their film. And they had kind of this interactive experience where there was like a bunch of cars.
Yeah. They called it cameras in cars.
Yeah.
So what a lot of us are probably really used to is like the coffee in cars, and they wanted to make sure that they were bringing creative minds together who are also interested in cars. So it's a very unique combination. But so that's what it was. It was a cameras in cars. So you have this parking lot at Sigma, which is really small. So there were limited spots. You had to RSVP, and then you had to also RSVP if you're going to be bringing in your vehicle. And I know that there were a lot of really cool cars that were there. Ones I don't even know what they're called, but they just looked really neat. Patrick would know all of them. And then there was our little clown shoe.
Mostly Porsche Dakars.
And it's a pretty Porsche.
Which is wild, yeah. beautiful.
pretty.
And then our clown shoe
Yeah.
adorned the Sigma parking lot as well. The guys were exceptionally nice. They even let us park like right up front.
Yeah.
And they said the truck was cool, which is
you look
kind of
weird
them.
enough, and like you cross over this line of like it can't be like mildly weird. Like you have to just dive in all the way and just embrace it, and then all sorts of doors open up.
So the film was awesome. I will also link that below.
Yeah,
So
it was fantastic.
go watch the film. I do believe it's on YouTube now. I think that they launched it. I think I saw that they made it live on YouTube.
So cool.
Film was really cool. Super well shot. It has some beautiful like gimbal work off of like car jibs. It has some wonderful FPV drone work. It has I know it has a tailor-made written score. I don't know who the composer was, but it's a friend of Evan's, I believe, and we'll shout him out down below as well, because the score was very well done.
We could go on and like be totally nerdy about all of like the camera and all of the technical aspects of it, and I know that that's probably not why most of you are here listening, so we won't dive.
Yeah, we won't bore you too much with that, but it was a wonderful film, and it's worth seeing.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it. It has a fun plot.
And then something really exciting happened that
I can't tell you guys.
Oh my gosh.
I can't tell you guys how excited. So I don't ever win anything. Like I'm not one. Amanda does.
Always. Okay, so like yin yang. Like I always win something. Never.
Yeah.
Never.
And I've been telling Amanda, you may have seen in some of our content recently, I've been wearing this green Timex watch that was like $20 on Amazon.
Purchase. Works.
It works. No, actually I kind of got it to where I figured out how to wear it to where it worked. The problem was like the adjustment knob was kind of fiddly. But either way, I've been telling Amanda, like, I would really love to have like a respectable watch. It doesn't need to be a nice watch, just a respectable
Rolex, but
just
we're talking more than $25.
Yeah, just something that'll like work, that's like truly waterproof, like just something that will hold solid time. And it turns out one of the sponsors of the film and of the whole project and all that, and if you go watch the film, it's a strong part of the plot, is Vero watches. And so they gave away one of 150 special edition watches that they made.
The last one.
Yeah, it was number 150 of 150. Nocturne is the name of the model. And your guy right here, I won it.
They also gave away a few other things from the film, so they wanted to be able to share with people different pieces of it.
Yeah.
But we're talking like the last prize, the grand prize, the big one that everybody really wanted to have, and it was so funny to watch Amanda try to announce our last name.
Pretty cool. I heard Patrick, and I was like, "Well, I'm claiming it, regardless of what the last name is.
Not many Patricks.
I will fight the other Patrick if I have to." But it turns out there was not another Patrick in the room.
No, I knew that we were going to win. I mean, on top of the fact that I always win. Okay, so like excluding that,
I knew I wasn't going to win.
I had a feeling that we were going to win something, but I just could not be happier that like out of all the stuff that you could get, it was something that was practical, and it was something that you very legitimately have wanted for a very long time.
Yeah, I've been saying for years that I would like to have like and like Amanda said, it's not like I want a Rolex or like a Patek Philippe or anything like super blingy. I just want something that's like nice and not going to fall apart. And the ones that I always end up buying are the ones that are just kind of beaters, and they end up falling apart.
Spending that kind of money on a watch when like the lifestyle that we live and everything, it's, you know, there's a lot of that money that could go towards putting stuff on the vehicles or
a lot of tanks of gas.
Trips. Yeah, like you start to break finances down in terms of, you know, how many miles will it get me down the road versus I could have this watch that I'm wearing and we could be sitting at home for the next month. It's like, no.
So it's pretty rad. It's waterproof. It has a a band that's like it's like what's cool is it's like their expedition line. So it's their like scout line of watches, which is perfectly fit to us and our lifestyle. So I couldn't be more stoked. And big shout out to the whole team that put all that together. Shout out to Vera Watches, all that stuff. Very, very cool. And I really, really appreciate it. I'm stoked to have like a watch that's doesn't belong like on my 10-year-old.
So we'll kind of like wrap up past that, even though that was a definite highlight for our time in LA. Patrick did take the boys and I to the Hollywood sign, something that I had never done. I've lived in San Diego, but did not spend much time in LA. But Patrick spent a lot of time with his cousin when he was younger, down in the LA area. So he was able to kind of play tour guide and show us some cool stuff. So we got to do kind of that touristy thing. We went to another like little overland event.
By OVS. Yeah, Overland Vehicle Systems. Pretty cool. Shout out if anybody that we met there is watching. Great to meet you. But yeah, it was a cool, like, just a social event.
Just another like cars and coffee kind of a gathering thing. So it was very chill. Gave us an opportunity to. Patrick's cousin has a son that is the same age as our boys, and they were, of course, glued to each other the entire time. So it gave us an opportunity to bring him along and expose him to kind of what our lifestyle is a little bit, and they got to hang out. So it was really nice.
Yeah, and then the last night we were there, I'll finish out LA. The last night we were there, all the kids, all the cousins, so our two boys and my cousin and his wife have a boy and a girl. They all wanted to sleep in the tent. So literally in like fancy LA Burbank area, the Beverly Hillbillies pull into the driveway. Yeah, Cousin Eddie was in town. We pull into the driveway, backup beeper and all, and set up the tent in the driveway. And all of the kids stayed in the tent, and they had a blast. Oh my gosh,
they were up.
They were up all night, essentially.
Snacking up there. Yeah. They were just having so much fun. It was so cool.
So I know they had a blast, and hopefully in the future we get to spend more time with.
Well, and we told them that we would be happy to take them camping because they don't get to go out camping, so we can expose them to the rougher side.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Nick did give us a recommendation when we were at the Sigma event of where we should head after LA, because that was something that we weren't quite sure where we wanted to go to.
Yep.
We talked about going to Joshua Tree. It's one of my favorite places to go. But we just wanted to get some advice from people who frequently do some off-roading in that area. And I don't know how we didn't think about it, but Nick told us to go to Johnson Valley. We were like, well,
totally makes sense. Yeah. King of the Hammers.
Yeah.
Plus just a huge epicenter for like off-road lifestyle in Southern California, right? Johnson Valley was so cool. Yeah. I mean, it's only, what was it, like an hour and a half or 2 hours or something out of LA? Far. And then you just pull off the highway right onto sand. We aired down the tires because we have no suspension. And honestly, the truck like rides pretty good once you air it down. Yeah. Like it's pretty dang acceptable.
Like, comparatively, it is a 95 on Leaf Springs and everything. So just given what it is, it's not bad.
Surprisingly comfortable. We went around. We took the like drive around route of Backdoor, which was wild because we were able to look up the line of Backdoor, and I was like, I can't even picture a vehicle driving up that. Like, I'm telling you,
all of it is insane because you look like you're just looking at the hill and it doesn't seem bad, and then you get a little bit closer and you're like, oh my gosh. That's not doable.
Obviously, we've all seen video of King of the Hammers. If you haven't, go watch it. The video does not do it justice.
No, it's
because you see it in person and
to get the angle right.
You see it in person and you're just like, wow, I can't even believe a car can do that. And we didn't even get to see cars do it. We just were looking at the line.
There were just some dirt bikes that were in the area.
Yeah.
So it was just mellow. So
yeah, it was good.
It's still a really cool place to go camp.
We made our way out kind of into the middle-ish area, and then I picked this like rock outcropping that was on a hill, and I was like, I'd love to be right by that rock outcropping. Well, I come to discover everything in Johnson Valley looks very attainable. And then you go to drive to it, and it's like rock crawling central. Yeah, you like show up. Yeah, so I ended up having to like walk this route just to figure out like how to get to which ended up being a really beautiful campsite. Right below a rock outcropping. Yeah. We were able to get the truck flat, even though it was like a big hill. We had to back up onto some rocks. And then there was a fire pit and some firewood.
There was.
Which is awesome because we were able to have a fire. And
there's one thing. We don't have space on our truck to be able to bring firewood. So we really have to depend on stuff that's there. Or something that we can like quickly grab on the way in, and we can try to like makeshift strap it on somehow. So it's nice when stuff is left behind like that. We take full advantage.
Yeah. Stayed one night at Johnson Valley. Mm-hmm. Really beautiful. Also still pretty cold and pretty windy.
The wind was
the next morning. In the morning, the wind was whipping, and we were kind of like, I say we blast.
We got confirmation from some friends that they wanted to be able to go camping together 2 days later, and we'd kind of been waiting to figure out if that was going to come through or not. So when we knew we had one more night, and we were so close to Joshua Tree that we decided it was better to just pack up because it was so windy in Johnson Valley that we would just head to Joshua Tree, get the little experience there. We have the National Park Pass because our oldest is 4th grade age. So if you guys have a child that's that age group, you can get a free annual National Park Pass. So any national park, you can get everybody in your car for free.
Yeah. We met a really cool park ranger.
And if mom or dad try to use it without you, you come let us know, okay? All right, you just heard me. I put you in charge. It's a lot of responsibility. Don't abuse your power now.
When we got there,
good.
He had us roll the window down, and he wanted to chat with Atticus because it was his pass, and he said to make sure to keep us in line, make sure we didn't do anything we weren't supposed to, and he wanted to knight the boys as junior park rangers. Yeah. So they took that role very seriously. My first time to Johnson Valley, the rating I would give it,
Joshua Tree
my first time to Joshua Tree, and the rating I would give it, 10 out of 10. Thought it was fantastic. It is like another world. It's like an alien planet, essentially. The Joshua trees themselves are like super beautiful.
They're like straight out of a Dr. Seuss book.
100%. It looks like you're driving in a Dr. Seuss book, pretty much. The only downside to when we went is it is so cold. It is like
we got there at night. We kind of left Johnson Valley like midday.
Yeah.
So we got there
at
sun
sundown.
Was down. It was still like a glow, so we could still see, but and then the wind was ripping, so it was cold, and then the wind was just insult to injury.
It's pretty high elevation too.
Yeah.
You're not at sea level like we are here. Like you're pretty high up. It's like high desert plains. You're almost, you're like in the mountains. I don't remember how high we were, but I remember looking at Onyx and seeing the altitude and being surprised at how high we were. I had every intention of like doing some work and like editing that night. And the second I got out of the car, I was like, set up the tent. It's movie night.
I know. I was like, we had intentions of making dinner, and that didn't happen. Yeah. We were like, no, just grab a snack.
Yeah.
Because we're not doing anything in this. Plus, we knew we wanted to leave earlier in the morning, and we were like, we're not going to pull out the stuff, be absolutely miserable, and then be even more miserable.
And then have to pack it all in the morning. Yeah. So we were the most opposite of rugged destinations that night it could possibly be. We didn't pull anything out. We were in a campsite. We didn't make dinner. We didn't do any work or do anything rugged. We actually just got in the tent and watched TV with our kids.
We did. We hooked up the Starlink. It was like the most domesticated experience.
Yeah. So,
Camping.
uh,
But it was very pretty. and
Joshua
we will
Tree,
go
very
back.
beautiful.
There's a lot of really cool hikes that are out there. It's just a lot of rocks the kids can just like climb around on and stuff too. So we'll go back, but we're going to go back after we're done with Baja, and it'll be warmer. And then hopefully we'll be able to hit like Death Valley too, because that is something that if you think Joshua Tree is 10 out of 10, you have no idea what's coming with
Okay,
Death Valley.
cool.
That one is
I'm looking forward to it.
otherworldly.
So we just a quick one-nighter at Joshua Tree, and then we had 2 things to do the next day. We'll talk about the next 2 things we did, and then we'll call it at that. How about that?
Okay.
So the first one is we stopped to see, we mentioned Otzi before, like earlier in the podcast. We stopped to see our buddy Adam at Otzi. And we know Adam from the Overland Expos. We've met him through a friend of a friend. After getting to see what they're doing and like the tooling they have in-house and the vans that they're building, like I had seen their vans and knew that they were very high quality.
They're
right?
high quality,
like I knew that.
Adventure-centric.
Totally.
They're so unique. The engineering is just next level.
Yeah.
Compared to what you see in van builds.
And the manufacturing is next level too.
Yeah.
It's not like they're engineering this great stuff and then like calling Shanghai and having it made. They're engineering and manufacturing all of their parts in-house with only the finest products, and they have this bed system that's like totally adjustable. I don't know. The van market blows me away. We had a van back in the day, and there was none of this stuff available. Like we did none of that stuff.
Yeah,
you had
not
like
good at building either. So there's that.
You had like some custom builders back then that were building vans.
Yeah.
You had like Sportsmobile that was doing like more RV-ish type vans, and then I feel like now just the technology. It's cool because there's a lot of competition in that space. So like the tech required, and it makes sense. Everywhere we've been, we've seen 10 vans everywhere we go. So it's cool. I love it that it's a solution for a lot of folks who maybe don't want to sleep in a rooftop tent, which I can totally understand after living in one for 2 months.
Yeah.
And like I love that the Otzi vans specifically, they go in with the intention of these are adventure vans. They need to be capable. They need to be 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. They need to be able to go. I know that Adam, he took his van over a bunch of the big, tall peaks in Colorado.
Yeah, in Colorado after the expo.
Yeah, so he's like,
Edmonton was closed because of fires.
Yeah, he did something else. I can't remember.
He did another run. With Adventure Built.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't know all of the Colorado peaks, but I just know that they're super tall passes and they're rugged and gnarly and they have crazy switchbacks. And he said that he just tooled right up them, just had a blast. So
because it's not heavy, he didn't have issues with lack of power.
Yeah, even at elevation.
Some other vans have had issues.
Yeah, so it was cool. It was awesome to stop by. It sounds like we might do some creative work for them in the future, so stay tuned for that. Maybe we'll get an opportunity to work with them in that capacity, but no matter what, just always fun to like stop and see and get an insight into what people are creating. So, and then next was
camping?
San Diego.
San Diego. Carlsbad to be specific. So there's a campground, it's a state park that is right on the coast. I won't say on the beach because you're like on a cliff that then has stairs to go down to the beach. But you're waking up and you're looking out on the Pacific Ocean. It's really, really pretty. It's a little pricey, I will admit, because you have no hookups. We didn't have water. We had no electric.
Yeah.
So we were paying.
Well, we had access to water.
We had access to water.
But we didn't. Yeah.
No
mostly it's power. That's the big. Because if we're trying to edit, then rendering consumes a lot of power. So But yeah,
I'm just saying it's.
it was super beautiful though.
It's
It was
very
crazy
pretty,
pretty.
but just to note, it is very pricey. But I think that's just pretty darn.
It comes with the
typical,
territory.
yeah, for being where you're at. But we met up with another family that goes out and adventures. They have a Dodge and a camper on the back of it, and they have 2 little girls that are just adorable, and the boys had so much fun playing with them. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a nice little break. And then beautiful sunsets.
Some of the most beautiful sunsets we've seen the whole time, for sure.
And the dolphins were jumping in the waves.
Yep.
That was like one of the coolest ways to wake up, was that the dolphins greeted us.
Yeah.
It was nice.
And then, yeah, I think we call it there.
Okay.
We had a beautiful time on the Pacific side, and we didn't know it, but that would be the last time we'd see the Pacific Ocean for a little while.
Yep.
So
We're getting close.
spoiler alert, this is
wrapping
not
up.
the Pacific Ocean that's behind us. It is an ocean, but it's not the Pacific.
No, it's not an ocean, it's a sea.
Oh, okay. That's what I said. So next time we're going to talk about where we stayed pre crossing the border,
Staging stuff.
how we crossed the border, and our first bit of time in Mexico.
And it was, yeah, next one. Let me just tell you, it was a wild.
It's a bit of a dumpster fire, but it seems like almost everybody has that experience with border crossing. So, as always, guys, we really appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, and we will catch you next time.